Look, if you struggle to get your agency to 10K plus per month, this is literally the only video you'll need to watch on this topic. I've tried to make it as simple as possible, breaking down to its core principles of what it takes to get an agency to 10K per month from complete scratch. And another disclaimer I'll make is we'll not talk about like mindset and beliefs and this sort of stuff in this video. Like this video is pretty much just tactics, like basically what you need to do every day and like how to actually get that. Now you can see a my report here. Let me actually make myself a bit smaller. Might look a bit complicated, but in reality it's very, very straightforward. Okay, so let's start at the top, and I gotta say, in this video, I will only show you things that I did myself to go from 0 to 10K per month, because that's something I actually did myself, and I'll tell you exactly how I did it, basically. So not that something I heard online or like this sort of stuff, but basically the things I did and I still do till this day to make 10K plus per month. So where it all starts, and that's very, very straightforward, is obviously your niche, because your niche matters. In fact, your niche and your market matters than everything else that you actually can have in this equation. Because look, if you are in a growing market, like it just will be 10 times easier for you than if you choose a bad niche, for example. Obviously, there is no such thing as bad niche, but anyway. So it all starts with your niche, and it all starts with the type of people that you will be working with. Now here, I basically just listed a few bullet points that I look at when selecting a niche for the agency, and it's just something I recommend to you as well, because that's just like making sure you don't shit the bed right off the get-go. Because I sometimes hear those people, like beginners, they start an agency and they're like, I work with indoor aquariums in New Zealand and I do Google Ads for them, stuff like that. Well, like it sounds pretty niche, but bro, like you probably have like five businesses in your niche. So anyway, the first point I look at is the size of the niche. Meaning I need to make sure that there are at least 30,000 businesses that I can reach in this niche for me to even like start considering it. Because if it's less, then the market is basically just too small for you. Like for example, I'll show you in a second how you can be sending like 1,000 to 3,000 emails per day. And you can imagine that like if your niche is 30,000 businesses, like you'll exhaust it in like 2 weeks. And what will you do next, right? The second part that is also very important is how easy it is to reach decision makers. And I say it's important because it's especially important for the beginners, the people that haven't done 5-10K per month yet. Because I mean, obviously there are some niches such as like dentists, right? Where it's considered a good niche, it's pretty proven. But the point is, for the beginners, it might be very hard to reach the decision makers, right? Because most agencies I know that scale in this niche, they scale with paid ads. And chances are, if you're watching this video, probably you don't have a lot of money to spend on paid ads. So that's the second point I would consider when it comes up to selecting a niche. The third one, and that's a bit of a controversial one, and that's actually the one I've neglected myself personally when I first selected my niche, and it was a terrible idea, is my suggestion will be to go for a niche or a market that is of at least a tiny level of interest for you. Because what I realized, because my niche is like architects and interior designers, and what I realized like 1 year into this niche, damn, I'm not actually that passionate about it, if that makes sense. So it basically like I don't really get excited much when it comes to creating a product and creating new offers and coming up with new ways. I'm just not that excited about that, and that just makes everything harder. Like you still can do it, and I'm still doing it, but if I was able to like rewind, I'll probably go for something that I have at least a tiny level of interest in. And the step number 4 is I would personally make sure that this niche is something that is considered proven. And what I mean by proven, it means that you personally know, or you can find at least 3 agencies that you know are doing 50K plus per month for this niche to consider being proven. And it's especially important when you are a beginner, because there are actually some niches that are incredibly hard to pull. Like they're just very hard. And so the last thing you want to do is to like not know if the issue is your market or the issue that just you suck and you are not good enough. Because if you go for a proven niche, such as like whatever, real estate, gyms, dentists, remodelers, roofers, e-com, like the niches that like solar, this sort of stuff, you just know that if you fail, that's 100% on you, because there are tons of agencies making a lot of money with that. But if you go with a niche like fucking indoor aquariums, like maybe it's just a bad market, so that's something just to consider for you. I mean, obviously you can be creative, but I would recommend to just go for something bulletproof when you're starting out, and that means like go for a niche that's proven. Now the second thing is your offer. And what a lot of people don't really understand in this space is there are actually two types of offer, or at least how I like to kind of separate them. And it's basically your front end offer and it's your back end offer. So let's start with the front end offer. So your front end offer is something that you use in your marketing materials. For example, cold DMs, ads, emails, cold calls, etc. That's something that you basically use to advertise for your business. Not something you use to close people on your offer, on your service, but something you use to advertise. And that's a huge difference. Usually it kind of follows more or less the we will result in time frame with system on risk reversal basis type of framework, right? So something that Hormozy teaches, and you can see it in his book as well. And the thing that people don't kind of understand is it actually doesn't really have to fully match your backend offer, which we'll talk about just in a second. Because main purpose of your front end offer is to get attention and to get people to speak with you. And this is the part that most people get backward. So with your front end offer, you can absolutely, and you should absolutely be creative with it. You should make it sound hard to do, but doable. So like, don't say, oh, we'll get you 300 customers in 30 days, because that literally sounds like a scam, right? But you need to make it sound like it's something that's hard, but it's also doable. And I'm almost like a bit curious, like how you're going to do it, which is why I want to speak with you. Like that's the only purpose of your front end offer. Right? And this is why I actually kind of suggest to kind of separate it to your front end offer and to your back end offer. And as a side note, and this like after having, 400 plus sales calls, 95+% of people, they don't even remember your front end offer. Like for example, I run ads, and when people respond and when people book a call with me and we jump on a call and we jump on a demo, like they just don't remember what was there. And so I realized I could pretty much put anything here, as long as it is of an interest for them and it doesn't sound too unrealistic, right? So I can say like, hey, I guarantee 5 projects. People just don't remember that. When in reality, maybe in my contract, I don't actually guarantee 5 projects, Now, obviously, it's ideal if you can match it, right? If you can have a very good front-end offer and then you can actually back your promise and deliver it. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? Because your back-end offer could be different. And so when it comes to that, so this is what you actually offer on the sales call. And this is something that you have stated in your written contract that your prospects and your clients will sign. Like this is actually something that they get, meaning it's your deliverables and your pricing structure. And I would suggest to make it appealing, but also at the same time be realistic, because in my opinion, it doesn't really worth it to come up with all sorts of crazy shit just to close people, for them to complain 30 days later, ask for refunds. This is just not a position where you want to be in. I actually had this happen to myself and to a lot of my students as well. So definitely don't overpromise. Like set realistic expectations, especially if you are starting out and you don't really know like what these people can expect. So start with like as low as possible. Try avoid guarantees if possible. Like I only kind of mention the guarantee on my offer only if they bring it up. Because if they don't, like I just don't say we have any guarantees. But if they do, I mean we do have like a 90-day work for free guarantee, right? So that's just in case you don't know, there are kind of 2 main types of guarantees. It's the one where you just refund them if they don't get the outcome you promised them they will achieve, or if they don't achieve this outcome in whatever time frame, you keep working for free until they get that. So this is the guarantee that I have in place. And once again, you can use guarantees to make it more appealing, but it's definitely not a good idea to use a guarantee as a closing tactic, because that just sets you up for a failure, right? Especially if it's a money back guarantee. So this is your offer. So come up with 2 of them. The first one is just to get the attention. The second is, basically something that you will actually deliver. The next step is your outreach channels. Actually, let me close the window because there are some kids playing. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So now let's go to your outreach channels. And the thing with that is this is the number 1 most important thing for you to get from 0 to 10K. At this point, everything will be determined whether you will achieve it or not. And so the first point I want to tell you and I want to get across, and actually made it bold here, is volume negates luck. So to give you a bit of a personal story, when I first hit 10K per month, it was in September 2023. So it's like a year and a half ago. I went from like 2.5K per month to 15K per month in 30 days. And all I did, I just came up with a way of how I can 10x the amount of volume of outreach I sent, and basically 10x in the amount of calls I got. Because back then I was terrible at sales. I'm not a master right now. I definitely gotten a lot better, but I was fucking terrible at sales. And the only thing I did is I was like, okay, let me get so many calls on the calendar that it's almost impossible for me to fail. where even with like a less than 10% close rate, I can actually make some money. And this is literally what I did. And so this is the first step, is volume negates luck. So keep in mind, it's not 2015 or like 2016 anymore, where you can like expect to send 10 looms per day and get a client. That's just ridiculous to me that some people still suggest that, because the market has gotten way more numb and way more sophisticated. And what you need to do is you need to always be looking for ways of how you can 10x the volume and 10x the quality of the outreach that you're doing. And that's really the key to all of it. Because once you get to 10K, I mean, obviously your go-to will be paid ads. Like every single agency I know that scaled past 50K, they all, without an exception, did it with paid ads. But that's just not something I recommend for you if you are like below 10K, and I can explain why, but not in this video. So literally, your outreach and your ability to book calls is the number one determining factor of whether you will achieve 10K or not. And so another step is consistency always beats small bursts of action. So it's way better if you can send 100 messages per day for 4 months straight, rather than you can send 1,000 messages per day, but like for a week, right? Because over time it will compound, and for you to actually wait and start getting the exponential returns, you absolutely need to be consistent with it. But this is pretty much the only action in your agency that you need to be consistent with. Like that's like you just need to commit to a specific number of outreach per day, no matter what, like no matter what happens. But if you just don't do any work, if you're burnt out, if you're fucking sick, this is the only action that you do today, is you send your daily outreach. That's really the only thing that matters. And so the question you should constantly be asking yourself is, how can I do more and how can I do better? And once again, as I said, booking calls is your number one priority. You don't even have to be good at sales. You don't even have to be decent at sales. Because if you have enough calls, like some people, and like if we take 100% of your potential customers, let's say we have 10 or 20% of people that will just never buy, no matter what you say and no matter how good your offer is, they'll just never buy. But then there are 10% of people who will always buy, no matter what you say. Like you will have to almost like unsell them. And so if you just have more calls, like even if you are very bad at sales, like you will still make some money. Obviously, if you're not a complete idiot, obviously. So let's go into the actual specifics, and I'll tell you about two methods that are just the ones I use myself, probably, like personally. I know there are like different stuff you can do. LinkedIn, you can do SMS, cold calling. But these are, in my opinion, the two absolute best methods and most like cost-efficient methods that you can use these days to actually send big volumes of outreach for your agency. And this is cold email and cold DMs. And to be more specific, it's called Instagram DMs. Because on Facebook, it's not the same it used to be like a year ago, where you could, have been sending like 50 DMs per day. Right now, you get shut down almost immediately. So it's cold email and it is cold DMs. Now, let me show you some of the stats. So my go-to is 1,000 to 3,000 emails per day. I mean, as of right now, it's probably a bit less than that. No, it's a bit like 1,200 emails that I'm sending right now per day. Like it's literally the last 4 weeks. And then like you can see my stats here. I basically just showed it. And those are the metrics. So I'm getting anywhere from like 10 to 20 positive responses, meaning leads per day. And to prove that, I mean, let me just go to my inbox right there and let's filter by interested, right? And I'll just scroll and you can see it by the date, right? So it's February 6th right now. And then yesterday, I probably got about, how many was that? Like 15-ish, right? The day before was like almost 20. So it's going pretty well because my script is very good, my offer is very good, etc. But the coolest part about the system is I literally pay $200 per month to run this whole system, which is kind of crazy because back in the day when I was first scaling, I was like, you needed to pay like $500 plus per month to kind of get it all set up, right? With domains, like because what you used to do is you used to be paying 7.2, I believe, dollars per month per one email account, and right now I pay $2 per month per account. So it's almost like 4 times cheaper. And so instantly AI is always my go-to because that's just probably the most efficient tool that you can use these days. I don't have an affiliate link for you in this video. Apologize for that, but that's just something I use, and I've been using this tool for, like probably almost 2 years right now. And the whole system will cost you $197 per month for 1,000 to 1,200 emails per day, and $97 you pay for the instantly subscription, and then I pay like $100 for 50 inboxes per month. So if you want a detailed video just on cold email specifically, like let me know in the comments, I can make it. This video is more like a high level, but I can just break down like the complete system I use And it's a very fucking good system. Like I've met, I don't know how much exactly, definitely over 50K I've made with the system in like the past year or something. Another thing is your list matters. So it matters where you actually get your emails from. And my suggestion will be to, can I make myself bigger? No, okay, let's forget about it. My suggestion will be to not buy leads because you can go on Fiverr or Upwork and you can actually buy leads from people. I wouldn't suggest to do that because realistically they'll probably take the list from the same places where you can take them from. But a lot of times it'll actually be a pretty shitty list because they don't really care much about like how quality it will be. But this is a very, very important factor because if your list is bad or if your emails are not properly verified or if you have bad emails, this system just will not work. So my personal favorite is D7. So you just go to D7 Lead Finder. It's a very simple tool. I've been using it for a long time. And where you go is you just do view plans. And then I usually go for the high subscription. That's about like $130 per month, I think. And so you buy it, but then you cancel it immediately and you only use it for 1 month because you can scrape a shit ton of leads from D7 like just in 30 days. So this is what I'll suggest if you go for like a local business. If you work with e-com agencies or like info products, etc., your go-to will probably be Apollo. So it's apollo.io. I've used it a bit, but the volume is lower. But the thing is they scrape from LinkedIn. So if it's more like a professional type of businesses, then you might find better luck with Apollo versus D7. And then I've heard Outscraper is pretty good for Google Maps. I haven't tried it myself just yet personally, but I probably will actually this week. And I'll probably do like an update on that. But I've heard it's pretty good, so you can check this out as well because it scrapes that data directly from Google Maps. And then what you need to do once you get your lists, doesn't matter where you get them from, is actually, can I do it like this? I think it's better, right? Okay, let me do myself better, bigger now. So I still have to close it. Anyway, once you get your list, you will need to go to some sort of like an email checker tool to make sure it's verified. Now, there are a couple of tools you can use. I just personally am a fan of this one, bulk email checker, because this is just the cheapest one out there. But it takes you kind of the longest because it could take like up to 24 hours to verify one list. So just be conscious of that. But you should be pretty fine because it's actually very cheap. Another thing you can use is called, I think it's called Million Verifier or something. Yeah, this one. So this one is also good. It's more expensive, but it's also a lot faster. So that's just if you want to save some time, but that's totally up to you. Now, if you set it up properly, and I'll talk about the script just in a second, you will be able to send from 1,000 to 3,000 emails per day, and then you can actually infinitely scale it. So if you want to scale it, you just create more emails, and then you just buy more domains, and that's really as simple as that. When it comes to cold DMs, I remember I was sending anywhere from 1,000 to 300 DMs per day. And I had at the peak, I believe, around 20 accounts. So what you do is you basically just need to buy accounts. Now, the guy I used to buy accounts from is called Bulk Accounts Buy, I believe this one. And so what I used to buy, if I remember correctly, is either aged Instagram accounts 2 to 4 years or 5 to 10 years, because it has to be an aged account. Just for you to not get restricted immediately, because that's something that will definitely happen if you just use like your account or a fresh created account. So I just buy the account, and then what I was using this tool. It's called Hide My Account. So that's a pretty cool one. So you can check it out here. Basically what it does is it allows you to have like 20 different browsers at the same time, every one with its own IP, which means Instagram doesn't detect that it's actually being sent from the same IP, and you can set up like I was buying proxies. I don't remember the website when I was buying it from, but you can just go buy IPv4 proxies, I believe. Oh, this one, yeah, I actually was buying from this one, proxy sale, and then you just click on buy proxy, and then I think I was buying the American ones. So you just go for like USA. And then I would suggest to go with IPv4 because those are residential proxies, but I was buying actually IPv6 because they're very cheap. But I actually found some good success with them, even though everybody recommended to go with those ones, but they're like 10 times more expensive. So I was like, whatever. And then you just install this browser, and then you upload all of your accounts once you buy them. And what that allows you to do is you just open this browser and you can open each account, and you can be sending 10 to 20 DMs per day per each account. Obviously, once you warm them up, which just like And then, yeah, you can easily send like 100 to 300 DMs per day ish. And then you can hire a VA to do the same. And that's what I did actually back then. So I was sending, back then I was sending 3,000 emails per day. And I was sending about 100 to 200 DMs per day, which is why I just got so many calls that it was almost like impossible for me to fail with it. So this is it. Now let's talk about the script a little bit. So you can see a script example here. This is for the email. Obviously, it's not my exact script because I'm still using it, and I don't want you guys to just copy it. But it follows the same framework. So I just created an example for real estate niche. So I say RE, and then I say listings in city, and you will get the city once you scrape your email. So you can use it as a custom variable, and basically you just need to list something that they would want. So if it's a realtor, it will be listings. If it's a dental office, it'll probably be patients. If it's a contractor, it will be roofs, or it will be jobs, whatever. And then either I only licensed in state or do work with homeowners nationwide. This line is basically just to use the custom variable to make it seem like it's personalized. And then you go for the offer. The reason I ask is because we're looking to partner with one niche in your area to get them result on a 100% pay as a profit basis, or you can say guaranteed, or you can say, and you only pay once you get the job. You can be creative with it, but that's just a framework. And then you can include like one sort of line of social proof. We help Brian from X, Y, and Z estate triple their GCI in just 90 days of working together. And then for the call to action, I just go for worth a chat, you think. And if they say yes, I will just call them. Instead of this like social proof line, you can also explain a bit about the system. Like, for example, something I used to say is like, we qualify every homeowner, we'll make sure they have the budget and have the time frame, worth a chat, you think. So pretty simple. Just I don't want you to just copy it, but like reverse engineer it. It will be pretty simple. Also make it like low key, make it straightforward. Don't use fluffy constructions like, I hope this email finds you well, or this sort of bullshit that doesn't work. And then let's talk about DMs. So I like to do an opener and then the body instead of just going straight for the pitch. That's just something I found the most success with. Hey, name, are you guys taking on more residential projects now? That's actually the line I was sending myself, exactly the same line. And then when they respond, I will pitch them and say, hey, just looking for one architect in city who is ready to handle 3 or 5 more high-end projects, all on performance basis. Worth a chat, you think. Same thing, plain simple. I also like to use lower cases here just to kind of appear more friendly. And this is it. This is literally... we're done with this step. And if you set it up properly, you should be getting anywhere from 10 to 20 positive replies per day. And then the key part is once you get a response, most people will just send them a scheduling link. And that's not ideal. What you need to do is you need to send them scheduling link, or you need to offer them a call via text, like text them back. But then you also need to call manually every single one of them until they respond. And this was the key part, because every single response I got, I called them and I say, hey, it's just Arseniy from email. We just had a chat like 30 minutes ago. Does that ring a bell? Yes. And then I would do an intro right on the spot. And this was probably the key part that allowed me to actually get to 10K plus, is calling every single lead that I got. And so what you should remember is, guys, dials equals dollars. So the more calls you make to your leads, literally the more money you'll make. I just need you to view it that way because it's actually true. And then you can find their number and you call them. If it's an email, a lot of times you will actually get the number when scraping, so you'll kind of see their number. But if there is no number scraped, go ahead and find their website. You can Google their email address and you will find their website. And 90% of the time, you will find a number here. Just any number, you just take this number and you just call them. And then what you do is you basically go over the intro script, which is very simple. So you start with connection questions. And what does that mean is like, hey, just Arseniy, you spoke with one of my colleagues via email. Does that ring a bell? Cool. What was it that attracted your attention? Oh, well, you guys talk about jobs. Tell me more about that. Yeah, for sure, man. We'll definitely go over that. Just if you don't mind me asking, what kinds of projects are you kind of mostly taking on? And then you go straight into the situation questions, which are pretty self-explanatory. You just need to learn more about their situation, how many clients they're closing, what is the close rate. I don't know, like, the questions you need to ask about your niche, right? What is the price point? How many more can they handle? What have they used in the past to get leads? And then you go to problem awareness, which is, well, do you like the methods that you use right now to get leads? And if yes, why? And if not, why not? And if they say yes, you say, look, man, it sounds like it's doing pretty well for you, right? I guess. But is there anything you think might be possibly improved in like the way you've kind of been doing that, or because look, man, it does sound like you're doing completely like 100% well. And then they'll say, oh no, I can probably get some more work, or I can get more high quality leads because those leads are shitty. Cool, man. Well, based on what you said, I mean, sounds like what we have might actually work out for you. And then you just go and you transition them to a demo. You just say, hey man, let's book a quick Zoom call for tomorrow. I'll be happy to share my screen, walk you through the process. Like, do you think it'll make sense? They'll say yes, and then you send them a invite, and then boom, you book demos. So ideally, with this volume, you should expect at least 2 to 3 demos, ideally more, obviously, per day to show up. And the good show rate is considered about 60%. So be aware of that. So which means you'll need to have like 4 to 7 demos per day booked, which is pretty hard, I know. But with a big volume, it's actually not that hard. And so once you send them the invite, and then ideally so obviously to send them some reminders and some confirmations, and if you have any social proof, you send them social proof. If not, doesn't really matter. Like some of my students, they close 3K paying fools without any social proof, so that's fine. And then you jump on the demo with them. So on the demo, obviously you have your demo script, and then you have your demo deck. Now I wouldn't be going kind of too much in depth in this video. There is actually a video on this channel about the script I use on demo, so you can go ahead and watch that. And basically what you do is you transition to the questions like, hey man, I know we had a chat yesterday, kind of have an idea of what you might be looking for, but just was like, just had like a couple of questions pop up, and like maybe you sort of kind of help me out. But what is like the main reason you might be even looking for some outside help with like getting leads and getting projects, like versus just kind of keeping doing what you have been doing already? And they'll tell you, and then you kind of keep asking them the right questions. And this is the part where you actually go in depth in the emotions and then this sort of stuff, like uncovering the pain, why they are on the call, what they want to achieve. And then obviously you end with the consequence, which means what happens if you stay the same, if you don't change anything about your approach. And then they'll tell you, and then from there you transition to a presentation, you walk them over your pitch deck, and at the end you obviously do the price drop. When it comes to the pricing, that really depends on like how I guess sophisticated you are. I mean, 1,500 per month retainers is like the golden standard. There's actually something I offer right now. Now, if you are brand new, then I will suggest to start with a small setup fees of $300, $500, $1,000, where you can actually get like some experience, and also it's kind of easier for you to close deals, etc. You can, and I also did offer 3K to 6K petty fulls when I first scaled. So what I did is, first of all, I obviously, as I said, right, I found a way of how I can 10x my outreach volume. And the second is I actually raised my prices. I raised them from 1,200 per month to 5K for 3 months, or 2K per month, which was quite a big jump, and my close rate dropped. But out of like, I closed 15K in cash. I got one paid in full for $5,000. I got one paid in full installment for 2,500. I got one retainer for 2K per month, and then another retainer for 2K per month, and then like 2 more retainers for 1,000. This was like the structure. So I raised the prices, and I got so many calls that it was almost impossible for me to not close more deals. That's all I did. But you got to be careful, because just from my observation and observation of my agency friends doing like 50, 100K plus per month, it's like instant gratification, and like people are tending to get more pissed more easily if they pay you 5K, and they get less patient in a way. Plus, in my experience, it's harder to get people to renew people from the initial 3 months once they pay you in full into another 3 months, because it's just, for some reason, there is like more friction here. But if it's just a monthly subscription, you just roll with it. It's way simpler for me. But that's something you can use, and that's something I used to do. I don't do it anymore, because right now I just want to stock retainers so that like I actually have some more recurring revenue. Because if you just overpaid in fulls, and if you close 10K in paid in fulls, well, next month you got to close more business. If you don't close anything else, well, you don't make any money. That's a mistake I got into myself a few times, where I made like 15K per month, but then I burnt out so heavily, had like 15 active clients. So I almost had no demos in a month. And because all of the deals I closed were paid in fulls, next month I made like 2K, and then I have to rebuild, etc. So I'm not saying paid in fulls don't work, but you just got to be cautious of that. And so you should aim for 10 to 20% close rate. But once again, even if your close rate is less, if you just have enough calls, you'll eventually close them. But yeah, if you basically just follow this structure, you will be able to sign 5 to 10 new clients per month. And then you will be able to actually get to 10K per month. And I kind of broke it down to like how to get it in 1 month. Obviously, if you do it like in 2 months, you can kind of divide the volume, etc. But that's really it. Like that's literally all I did to get to 10K. Obviously, there is also service delivery. There are a few videos on this channel about service delivery, so you can go ahead and watch them. But you don't even have to think about this yet. Just think about this. Find a way to implement everything I basically just laid out here, and trust me, you will be able to get to 10K plus per month if you do just exactly the way I kind of explained here. So, and another thing I want to say is 90% of a 10K per month agency is SACA, setting appointments and closing appointments. In fact, I even know some people that scale past 10K while not making a single dollar for their clients, which is not something you want to do. And I don't recommend to do this way, but it shows that the point that matters in getting to 10K per month is not service delivery. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying, like, obviously your client results matter a lot, but the key parts of getting your agency to 10K per month are setting appointments and closing appointments, and 10% is service delivery, client management. And then you need to commit to daily actions for at least 4 months until judging the outcome. Because the problem I see most people do is they try it for a month, they send outreach, they don't get any results, and they quit. You can't do this. It takes longer than you expect it for it to take. But if you can do all I just explained here, and you can commit for doing so for 4 months, trust me, you will hit 10K per month. In fact, I did it for a month and like was able to achieve that. I probably shouldn't say that because obviously I had like 3 months before that where I was getting better. So okay, forget what I just said. Commit for 4 months and do the actions I basically explained here. Come up with ways to get as many appointments as possible, and then come up with the best ways to close them, and you'll be fine. And then I got some metrics here, but don't get too caught up. Those are pretty arbitrary. What I want to get across is you need to reverse engineer your metrics, meaning that you basically set up your pricing here and you set your goal here, and then you break it down. Okay, what is your close rate and how many clients you need to close every month to get to 10K? And then you reverse engineer, you basically just implement your numbers here. Let's say you close at 15%, your show rate is 50%, and then you just from there need to understand how many demos you need to be booking every day, how many demos need to show up every day, which means how many leads you need to get in like whatever time frame, let's say a month, which means it will boil down to how many messages you need to send. And this is the part we are looking for, because we can't really control the outcome, we can only control the input. And which is why it's important for you to understand that, well, if I want to get this, I need to send this amount of messages per day, which means 1,000 to 3,000 messages per day. And now all you think about is you don't think about how you'll like close 5 clients. All you think about is how you can send 3,000 messages per day. Because if you do that, you will be able, based on your own numbers, you will be able to hit 10K or whatever your goal is. And then I will also suggest to add like a 15-20% margin of safety. So you kind of just increase it by 20% and just to make sure you can't fail. But that's pretty much it. It's literally all you need to get to 10, probably even 20K, I think. It's literally the same thing, you just close more. So 10 to 20K per month, all you need is basically explained to you here. I hope this video was helpful. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.